There are certain moments in celebrity history when an image does more than just trend. It detonates. For Meghan Markle, that moment came when rare, unfiltered photos from her Paris appearance leaked online. No studio lighting, no soft filters, no curated angles, just raw daylight on a face the world thought it knew. And what those pictures revealed left insiders whispering, fans gasping, and allegedly Meghan herself in tears. According to close sources, she locked herself away for hours after the photos started circulating, refusing calls from even her closest team. Because for a woman whose entire empire was built on control of her story, her image, her narrative, these pictures were an uninvited truth. And that truth, it wasn't kind. The Paris trip was supposed to be Meghan Markle's grand return. The moment she silenced critics and reclaimed her crown as Hollywood royalty, dressed head to toe in white Balenciaga, she expected headlines like Meghan stuns in Paris. Instead, the story turned into a global autopsy of her face. The unfiltered shots hit the internet within hours. Her skin looked taut, her cheeks hollow, her expression frozen mid-smile. The woman who once glowed under any lens suddenly looked well-haunted. It wasn't age, it was something else. The natural warmth that once made her relatable had vanished, replaced by sharp edges and a stiffness that seemed sculpted rather than born. By midnight, the phrase, "What happened to Meghan's face?" had exploded across every tabloid newsroom in Los Angeles and London. Word on the street was that even insiders at her own PR firm were scrambling for explanations. Was it lighting? A bad angle? Or had Meghan, desperate for reinvention, taken her transformation too far? To understand why Meghan might have gone this far, you have to understand her relationship with control. Every chapter of her life, Hollywood, the palace, California, has been built on image. When the world applauded, she smiled. When the world turned cold, she rebuilt. Reinvention wasn't vanity, it was survival. Sources close to her claimed that before Paris, Meghan was under immense pressure. Her career momentum had slowed, projects had stalled, and whispers of financial tension had started circling. In that pressure cooker, she did what she'd always done, transformed. The face we saw in Paris wasn't a mistake, it was strategy, a desperate attempt to resurrect relevance through reinvention. But when those unfiltered pictures hit the web, the strategy shattered. The surgeries, the tweaks, the curated reinventions, they were never about beauty. They were armor. Paris was the night that armor cracked. Then came the whispers of something even more alarming. Her dramatic weight loss. The sudden gauntness of her face. It all carried the telltale signs of the Hollywood obsession sweeping red carpets. The Ozempic effect. Ozempic, the so-called miracle drug, had become the secret behind countless celebrity transformations. But doctors have warned that while it melts the body, it also hollows the face. The look is unmistakable. Tight skin, sunken cheeks, and an almost skeletal sharpness around the jaw. According to word from the street, Meghan's recent appearance matched that pattern perfectly. The combination of alleged surgical work and possible rapid weight loss created what one Beverly Hills insider called a catastrophic aesthetic reaction. Instead of looking refreshed, she appeared fatigued, brittle, and fragile. "It's what happens when you chase youth too fast," the source added. "Your body can't keep up with the illusion." In Hollywood, that look has a nickname, the Ozempic face. And now, Meghan had become its most shocking example. For years, she'd been the woman who seemed to age backward, her beauty a blend of confidence and mystery. But those Paris photos told a different story, not of rejuvenation, but of exhaustion. The relentless pursuit of flawlessness had turned on her, leaving behind something the cameras couldn't soften. As the lights of Paris faded and the internet buzz grew louder, one truth became clear. Meghan's face had stopped being her shield. It had become her confession. By the time the Paris photos died down, the damage was already done. Behind the glossy smiles and the polite PR statements, Meghan's empire was crumbling. The Spotify deal was gone, Netflix wasn't calling, and the brand partnerships that once fought for her name were suddenly silent. Even close friends noticed a shift. She'd always been confident in front of a camera, but now she reportedly avoided candid shots altogether. At home, things weren't easier. The fairy tale life that once felt untouchable was cracking under the weight of reality. The royal reconciliation talks were just whispers. Money was said to be tight, and the couple's media power, once unmatched, was fading fast. And for Meghan, whose entire career had been built on controlling perception, losing that control wasn't just a PR nightmare, it was personal. It was like watching her identity evaporate in real time. The unfiltered photos didn't just expose her face, they exposed her fragility. What is currently happening to Meghan? Psychologists call it identity displacement, but those close to Meghan call it what it is: addiction. An addiction to reinvention. Allegedly, insiders have watched her cycle through stylists, wellness gurus, PR experts, and surgeons, each one tasked with fixing what fame keeps breaking. She doesn't want to age, she doesn't want to fade, she doesn't want to be forgotten. So, she edits, she smooths, she reshapes until the reflection in the mirror matches the headline she wants to read. But the problem with editing yourself too many times is that eventually the original file disappears. She's chasing a version of herself that doesn't exist anymore, whispered one Hollywood source. And each time she gets closer, she loses more of what made her real. This is no longer about beauty or power. It's about control. Meghan's reflection isn't her shield anymore. It's her rival. Paris was meant to be Meghan Markle's redemption. After months out of the spotlight, she'd handpicked the Balenciaga show for her grand reappearance. The brand was controversial, still clawing its way back from scandal, and Meghan thought the alignment was poetic. Two fallen icons rising again. But the night didn't go as planned. When she arrived, draped in that oversized white wrap meant to scream avant-garde rebirth, all eyes turned. The cameras flashed, but instead of admiration, what followed was confusion. Her face, once the picture of effortless poise, looked strained under the lights. The jawline too sharp, the cheeks hollow, the eyes lifted wide yet tired. Allegedly, Meghan's team tried to manage the fallout, spinning it as bad lighting or camera distortion. But the truth was impossible to hide. The Balenciaga show, her supposed revival, became the stage where her illusion collapsed in real time. And that brings us to the photo that started it all, the one where the light was too harsh, the expression too forced, and the illusion too thin to hold. Because when you strip away the filters, the glam, and the calculated angles, what's left isn't just a changed face, it's a confession. In that single image, the world saw what Meghan's carefully managed empire never wanted exposed: fatigue, fear, fragility. The woman who once made the world believe she could control every narrative finally lost control of her own. You can lift a jawline, but not a reputation. You can smooth a wrinkle, but not the truth. The more she tried to look flawless, the more human she appeared, and not in the way she intended. Her face has become a mirror for the price of obsession. The pursuit of perfection doesn't end in triumph. It ends in exhaustion. She could have aged gracefully, one insider said softly. Instead, she tried to rewrite time. And maybe that's the real tragedy of Meghan Markle. Not the surgeries, not the Paris photos, not even the public downfall. It's that in chasing the perfect reflection, she forgot how to see herself. As the lights fade on Paris and the internet moves on to its next target, one haunting question remains. When perfection becomes your prison, who are you when the mirror finally cracks?